Tracy, go ahead.
Hey, Ethan, how you doing, man?
What's up, Tracy? How's it going? Doing good.
So tell us a little bit about this transition from wide receiver to running back. How you're liking it, how you feel, your comfort level, how you think they're going to use your specific talents at that position, all of that.
Yeah, I'm loving it. It's a lot of fun. I'm really liking being with Coach Foz. He was one of the first coaches I met when I got here, so we're pretty close. And he's been there, done that, NFL guy. So it's pretty awesome to be able to pick his brain throughout practice and in the meeting room. And I'm not sure how they're going to use me. That's not really my position to say. Hopefully, I can help the team, and I'll do anything I can to contribute and get on the field.
How is it for you after this is your 6th year in the program of when you came in as a walk-on, plugging in at wide receiver and then making that transition? I mean, that's a lot to go through during your experience there. I mean, how has this been, and what are you looking for during your super senior year?
Yeah, it's pretty wild. I've been playing college football for 6 years, but I'm still loving it, still having a blast every day at practice. And fortunately, a lot of the skills that I learned at receiver transfer over to running back. When I got here, I had to work a lot on my footwork and a lot of my agility, and all that stuff kind of transfers over to running back. So the transition hasn't been too hard. And this last season, to answer your question, I'm just hoping to win some games. Haven't got an opportunity throughout my 6 years or 5 years to win too many games. So I think that's the goal for everyone in the building, is just to go out there and shock the conference a little bit and win a lot of games.
One last question. How did that move to running back happen? Did you go to Deshaun Foster? Did they come to you? And how's that been under Coach Foster?
Yeah, well, as you know, at the end of last season, we had a lot of running backs out. Kashmir Allen, I think we had some COVID issues with him. Felt, we know what happened with Felt, so we were pretty thin at the end of the season. And they kind of just came up to me and said, "Hey, you want to try running back?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure, why not?" And it's been good. Coach Foster is a really good coach, really good teacher, and so he's kind of teaching me the intricacies of the position, and it's been fun to learn from him for sure.
Thanks, Ethan.
Thanks.
Brady, go ahead.
Hey, Ethan, this is Brady McCullough with the LA Times.
How's it going, Brady?
Going good, thanks. So, obviously Dorian has had a ton of responsibility on his shoulders for 3 years now. And, that's obviously been big for him. But when you look at him now going into his senior season, have you noticed any differences just on the perspective of his leadership?
I think Dorian's always been a pretty good leader, but the fact that he's a little bit older now, I think his leadership carries a little bit more weight. And when he talks, people shut up and listen. He's got a little bit more power behind his voice now. And, he's coming out here and having a blast and bringing a lot of energy every day, which I think is infectious, and it's great for our team.
He was talking in his interview with us recently about, I guess, the idea of him being a servant was the word he used, and talking about, cleaning up after teammates, being, someone who's just kind of doing the little things. Is that something you've noticed in particular?
Yeah, I mean, Dorian's definitely been doing a lot of extra work, a lot of stuff with the leadership council to kind of, that's our job as leaders, is to, pick up after guys. And we try to pass that message on, that we need to keep the locker room clean and do the little things right if we want to do the big things right. So Dorian, he's been good. He's been a good example.
Thanks.
Sam, go ahead.
Hey, Ethan, how you doing, man?
Doing good. How are you?
Good. So another guy who made the receiver to running back transition a few years back, Demetric Felton. I'm just wondering if you talked to him about his experience making that switch, any tips he gave you, or even if just advice that you noticed when you were watching him over the last 2 seasons.
Yeah, Demetric's one of my good friends, and he's definitely a big inspiration to me. You know, I think he's so athletic that the transition came so naturally to him that I've definitely watched a ton of his film and tried to, you know, copy what he was doing on the field. And how can I, you know, try to carve out a similar role to what he had as a receiving back and as a playmaker. And so I talked to Demetric a lot. Really happy for him. Got an opportunity with the Cleveland Browns, as we all know, much deserved. And yeah, he's been a big inspiration to me for sure.
And then you said you're not really sure the role they're going to put you in. Do you think that you're going to do something similar to Demetric, or have you watched, like you said, you watched film of him? Are you kind of expecting to fill like certain roles and certain plays that he did, or are you just going to try to pave your own path a little bit?
I think I'm just going to try to do whatever the coaches need me to do to get on the field. That's my main goal. You know, it has been since I got here. I want to be a contributor on the offense. I want to help the team win and make plays while doing it. So, you know, that would be awesome if I get to have a similar role to Demetric. That would obviously be pretty cool because he, you know, scored a lot of touchdowns and got a lot of touches. So I wouldn't be too mad about that.
All right, thanks.
All right, any final questions for Ethan? All right, great. Thanks for your time, Ethan.
Thank you, guys.
All right, we have wide receivers coach Jerry Neuheisel walking over right now. Coach, we got you muted there.
Good to go.
All right, everybody, we'll get started here with wide receivers coach Jerry Neuheisel. If you have any questions for Coach, hit the raise hand button at the bottom of your screen.
That had a cool ring to it.
I'm getting used to this. We'll get started with Tracy.
Coach Neuheisel, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Tracy. Good to talk to you.
You also. First off, you know, this is kind of an honor here. You're the first assistant coach we've interviewed in years here. So the fact that they let you do it, that must say a lot about you there, Coach.
I don't know if it says a lot about me or if it puts a lot of pressure for the rest of the assistant coaches around here. So I better do a great job so we can get all the real guys around here back on the interviews here.
So a lot to talk about. Let's start with just, I mean, your overall, you know, arc of your career, starting out UCLA quarterback, grad assistant, moving on to different assistant positions, Texas A&M, finding your way back to UCLA. That whole process, I mean, you knew you were always going to end up at UCLA, right?
I think since I was born here in 1992, I think I always knew I was going to find my way back here. I think I was 8 years old and my dad was coaching for the University of Washington in the Rose Bowl when we took a tour of this place. And most of the time, you don't really remember a lot of memories when you're 8 years old, but I can't forget walking around here, and I always knew I wanted to be here. And I believe in this place. This place is unbelievably special, and it's different from anywhere else in the country. And I've been to Texas A&M, I've been to other universities, I've been all over, and there's nothing like this place where you have a university that's daring enough to be great at everything they do, right? We're not an academic school, just only academics. Like, we're not just a sports school. We're the #1 public university in the country, and we get 100,000 people at our games. We play in the Rose Bowl, which has been ranked the #1 stadium in college football. We've got a basketball team that was just in the Final Four. You know, this university has the guts to say we can be great at everything we do. And since I've been here, that's what I believe in. And to be honest, that's what's been the funnest part about funnest. That's not a great, I'm not doing very good for my UCLA education right there, but it's been the most enjoyable part for me is being back here and being around the guys, because we recruit really good people who want to be great at everything they do. And to be able to get to know the recruits, to be able to get to know the players on this team, I believe so much, and they believe so much in what this place could be and what this place means. And I'm just excited to see that whole plan come to fruition here in this fall.
How do you feel about fitting in at receiver, coach? Obviously, you're a quarterback. You know a lot about the position, and I know you spent some time there over the last couple of years working with the receivers. How natural a transition was that for you?
I think it's supernatural. I think receiver and quarterback go hand in hand. And so, you know, a lot of people will say, well, what does he know about playing receiver? Well, I know exactly where you're supposed to be and when you're supposed to be there. And I think playing receiver, that's the most important part, is I can give you the insights of where the quarterback's expecting you to be, how you're supposed to be there, and when you're supposed to be there. You know, a lot of times guys want to cut their route short because I'm trying to be open. Well, the quarterback's not ready to throw you the ball yet. So we're learning a lot about where you're supposed to be, when you're supposed to be there, and we're working on our fundamentals. And hopefully that pays off when we start here in August against the Wild.
What has your dad said about you getting this job?
He's incredibly proud. Incredibly proud. A lot of people don't remember, but his first coaching job was also the receiver coach here at UCLA. So I really cannot get out of his shadow, but I'm excited to step out of it. He did not win a Rose Bowl as a coach here, so I'm excited to keep moving on that path and get us back to the game we belong in.
Thanks, Jerry.
Thank you.
You did well.
I appreciate it.
Sam, go ahead.
Hey, Jerry, how you doing?
Doing good.
So I guess you being at receivers coach and Deshaun being at running back coach, both of you guys are former players, both in somewhat recent history. I think was he a grad assistant when you were a player here?
I don't recall exactly what he was, but I know he was on staff here when I was playing here.
All right. What's it like being on the same staff as him, knowing that made different paths, but both of you guys former players, worked your way up through the coaching staff and kind of coming to where you are now as position coaches?
Yeah, I think it speaks a lot about this place. You know, there's not a lot of universities where you're going to have two former alumni who are on staff. And I think it speaks to the fact that the alumni want to find a way back here. You know, if you look over in the Morgan Center where the rest of the people have been here for 30 something years, because this place is special. And so to have him being a big brother to me since I was playing here, and have him as a role model while coaching, and being able to follow in his footsteps as an alumni who became a coach, he's an unbelievable person to learn from. And it's an unbelievable honor to be on the same staff as him.
And then the quarterbacks the other day were saying how they miss you. I mean, you're obviously still around, but how closely are you working with them now? And how nice is it working with those guys the past couple of years too?
I think the coolest part about coaching here is that you're not limited to one position. You know, we're not all in silos. I don't only talk to the receivers. I don't only talk to the quarterbacks. We don't have that. You know, all the coaches have free reign because we're all on the same page to coach all the different positions. So I still talk to them all the time. I still tell them I could still throw it with them. I think I still have one more season left in me, and I let them know that all the time. So in a throwing competition, I still have them. I'm still working on it every day when I throw to the receivers. So I have fun messing around with them, but they're really good people, and I'm excited about all the progress they've made with Coach Kundu.
Tony, go ahead.
Hey, Jerry.
How you doing?
Good, man. Hey, listen, I got a few phrases from some of the receivers. All right. I want to get your reaction to what they're saying about you. All right. Composed, brings a lot of energy.
Those seem like antonyms.
They do.
Okay.
They do. Maybe it's composed energy.
Yeah, so that's I could deal with that. That's a good one.
They called you knowledgeable. They called you creative, and they said you're not a screamer. So they like that. How would you define your coaching style?
I would define it as teaching first. I think I've been really blessed to be around a lot of great coaches. Starting growing up with my dad, and then I was here with Coach Mazzoni, who I was lucky enough to work under when I was at Texas A&M. And now over the past 3 years, being with Coach Kelly and being right next to him and learning the offense from him, I've been really blessed to be around some great teachers of the game. And so to me, the one positive thing I've always took with me is that you have to be relentlessly positive. I've always believed that negativity and yelling really never accomplish as much as positivity can. And so my dad taught me that at an early age, and he got into the passion bucket. I haven't introduced him to the passion bucket yet. But to be relentlessly positive, that's what I want to do. And I want to teach them the game. I want them to understand the why. I want them to know why it works, because when they know why it works, you allow their own individual creativity to come out. And that's what our goal is of this offense, is we're going to put you guys in the best position to succeed and give yourself that creativity that you bring to our team, that unique aspect you bring, and let that shine on Saturdays.
What kind of things did you learn from Noel in your time at A&M as a grad assistant? What kind of things did you learn from him about coaching that you bring to this job?
Noel has an unbelievable, it's also weird for me to call him Noel. It's Coach Mazzoni to me, okay? Coach Mazzoni to me brings an unbelievable way to always know the right thing to say. When we're down, all of a sudden he knew how to lighten the mood. He knew how to lock us back in. He always knew the way to get our team right back on track. There'd be times we'd be down in a game. I don't know if you guys remember those games in the 2015 where all of a sudden we're down, we come back in the game, and they go, how do they keep finding a way to win? And the one game I was lucky enough to play against Texas, we're down with 3 minutes left in the game, and he gave a guy who had not started a game a chance to throw a slug, hitch and go for a win on the first play with the game on the line. He trusted me with that. And to come in the huddle, and he knew exactly what to say and get our guys, that's what I've taken from him. And I will always try to make sure that's a huge part of what I do as a coach.
What did you learn from Jimmy Doherty in his time here?
Jimmy has a really good way of communicating the fundamentals, doing his drills, all those different things. He had a really good way of explaining the why of what we're doing in those drills. So to be able to learn from him over the past 2 years and kind of watch the progression of what he's done with our receivers, I'm just kind of glad to take the baton from him now and try to push us a little bit further down the road and get our position and take what he's done, expand upon it, and get this position group to where they can be with the talent level we have.
Last one here. The coaching's a tough gig, and your dad has certainly lived that, and you've lived it with him. Has he ever tried to talk you out of getting into the coaching business?
He'll say yes, but he's a liar. He has never. There is nothing like it. I understand the weird parts of this job, right? When you get fired, everybody knows about it. It's not one of those things like that. And you're often moving. Usually when you're winning too much, you're moving. And when you're losing, you're too much, you're moving. But no one wants to be in the same place, and you're always aiming to win. So it's this weird dynamic you have with your families. And the one advice he always gave me is that you have to make sure you have an unbelievable partner. And so I'm lucky enough to have found a wife who understands what the role and what the job entails, and she's super supportive of it. So that is the one thing that he has helped me learn, and I'm lucky enough to found it. But has he tried to convince me otherwise? No, not one bit, even though he'll tell you he has.
All right, well, just so you get used to it, I'll say thanks, Coach Neuheisel.
I appreciate it. Thanks, Tony.
All right, let's go to Brady.
Hey, Jerry, this is Brady McCullough with the LA Times.
How you doing, Brady?
Hey, good. Couple quick questions about Dorian. As he's going into his senior year, obviously he's had a ton of experience, had a lot of responsibility on his shoulders already, but have you noticed anything different about him this particular offseason going into senior year from a leadership perspective?
I think it's part of the natural maturation process. Most people don't realize that he only started at quarterback his senior year of high school. So there's a lot of intricacies that come with this position that happen off the field, on the sidelines. Like those are things that he's learning and he's getting much better at. If you compared him now to when he was here as a freshman, it's night and day. And so he's getting a hang of it. He's starting to realize what this position entails, and you can see the guys behind him and the guys around him right now really rallying behind him. So I think he's doing a really good job understanding the gravity of what that position entails. And thankfully, he's got a lot of guys who've been here long enough so that he doesn't have to carry that burden by himself. You've got Chase Cota, you've got DeLon Hurt, you've got Kyle Phillips, all who have a lot of playing experience here. On the offensive line, you're returning a ton of guys. And so when you have that much returning people, he doesn't have to shoulder that burden by himself. And so I'm just really excited to see what our guys do on Saturdays this year, because it's all been part of the process. We've been building up to this, and now I'm just excited to watch them go play.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Let's go back to Tony.
Hey, Hey there's something I forgot to ask earlier. When you
No
went and
worries.
played in Japan for your 1 year there, you still speak Japanese?
Choto.
A little bit.
A little bit. You know, thankfully, football's still in English over there. The weird part was when you had to yell the cadence in Japanese. So blue, we did in English, so it was blue, but the number had to be in Japanese. So when you get used to it and you grow up, yeah, like, yeah, when I'm going to be a professional quarterback, I'm going to do it big time. I'm going to say blue 42, and you practice it your whole entire life. You don't get used to saying blue yonju ni, set go. That's a weird experience, but it was the first time I've been able to see over the offensive line in a long time, and it was an unbelievable experience. And to be completely honest with you, after, I unfortunately did not get the starting job my senior year. I was a little bit down in the game of football. Going to Japan and being around those guys and realizing they work Monday through Friday, and then on Saturday and Sunday, all they wanted to do was get out and play. My tight end was 43 years old. He was still playing, loved the game. But it's not for money. It wasn't for anything like that. It was just for the love of the game. And it reinvigorated my love of the game. And it's probably why I came back and wanted to get into coaching, because I wanted to give that love of the game, the love of the game that I always knew I had. And I kind of got back to the rest of these players and let them fall in love with the game like I have.
All right. Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
All right. Any final questions for Coach? All right. We'll wrap it up there. Thanks for your time, Coach.
Appreciate it, guys. That was easy. Thank you, guys.